All right. I think I will do a little bit early, but it's okay. It's not a bad habit. I'll wait till a few people join in. In the meantime, I'm just, I 3D printed some cool propane tanks and stuff like that a while back. And I figured tonight I would work on doing some pigment powders with them. And I already airbrushed these, but I just want to go back through and add some real cool looking. I got a cool color, a few colors from Vallejo Pigments that I bought. The carbon, let's see, carbon black. Make sure the lid is on before I show you. Spill it all. Wouldn't surprise me, but I got a carbon black, which is really, definitely, certainly, absolutely black, which is great for doing, you know, things like I'm doing tonight. This propane cylinder, gas cylinder, or whatever. And actually, this was a print that was one of my first 3D prints, and it didn't come out like I wanted, but it's okay because I kept it. And now, you know, I mean, I can paint it and use it in the diorama somewhere as just background fill, you know, so it's pretty cool. So right now I'm using a brown iron oxide color from Vallejo Pigments. And I've already, like I said, I've already airbrushed this with the base colors of, you know, browns and, you know, whites and some blacks in there just as a base color. But then I'm going in with these pigments and just creating some really cool, let me drop it, some really cool layers of different colors of rust and age down there in the you know, in the bottom around the beads of the welds and things like that. Just different layers, you know, using the blacks and the browns and the rust colors that I got from Vallejo here. They're pretty cool, man. I really like these. They're a great way to add to an airbrushed, you know, item to give it a little bit more texture and just different, not really texture, but just different color layers, you know. And you just kind of put this stuff on where you think it's going to look best. Pick it up and drag it around the areas you want to put it on. It's all up to you. You know, this just adds a really cool layer of believability on top of the airbrush. I mean, I went and airbrushed this with some grays and, you know, different gray washes and stuff as a base coat. And then these just really help bring out some different layers of cool looking old grit, you know. And I really like the way they come out. You know, they look really nice. When more people join on here, I'll get on with the latex trick I was gonna show you folks. But that, you know, I'm not due online till 7 o'clock. So, oh, my daughter's bringing coffee. Nice. Coffee's always a good thing. Thank you. I'm on YouTube Live. Okay, anyway, so we'll go through and I'm going to probably, you know, and I've got different colors that you can buy in this rust set. And I shared this with you folks before on the refrigerator build, but it's great for tanks and other things also. So one of the other colors I'm going to use is this new rust color. It's all right. And we'll put a little bit of this on here. And I did buy a white. I don't know if, you know, what I would use the white for, but dang it, I bought it. So at any rate, we've got white. I mean, you might be able to maybe dry brush some highlights or something on something. I'm not sure, but let me just drag a little bit of this into the cap here, and swirl my brush around in it. we'll just bring a little bit down in here. Just move it around. The latex trick I'm going to show you tonight is pretty cool. Latex, you can make some really cool textures with latex in the dioramas. And I recently learned a paint peeling effect with that from another channel, but I went on to realize that I can do rust with it also. And I did, and I just want to show you the result and how you can do it also. It's pretty cool. Just kind of blend all that in a little bit. And it's nice from a white, you know, resin print to something, you know, that is cool looking. Like that. And I haven't tried the pigment powders on already painted, you know, airbrushed, or not airbrushed, but regular painted, acrylic painted. Like I made this I 3D printed this fire hydrant box and a fire hydrant. And I just painted this. I didn't airbrush this, but I painted this with just acrylics and a brush because I was lazy to get out my airbrushes to paint one box. But you know, I would like to try the pigments on something like this too, but I think I might have to scuff it a little bit in order for them to work, to get something to bite onto, which would make sense, but I'm nervous to do it because I don't want to ruin my box. I guess I wouldn't ruin it. It would kind of just be a learning experience. But so the way I got texture on here is I just went ahead and did some black washes and some different black wash with a small brush, and then moved the black wash around really good with a small brush on here and created that. But there's my dog out there barking at who knows what. Here's a little spray paint can I made. These are really fun to make, man. They're a bit of a chore. This nozzle is the hardest part of that thing to make, man. But this is just made out of a glue stick. And I printed this out on a printer, cut it, wrapped around. All that is a hot glue stick and a pencil sharpener. Really cool, man. And I made some of these. I'm not sure why I have it out right now, but it's really cool. Like I say, the hardest part of making this was that nozzle. I had to use a wooden dowel, cut it and paint it white, and then just use a marker to make a black dot on there. But these are really cool, man. You can make all kinds of different little cans, you know, containers like this with little glue sticks. Just another thing to add some realism to your dioramas, you know, pretty neat. But at any rate, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. So another cool thing I wanted to talk about tonight, it's just about 7, so I'll get started. Let me move these paintbrushes out of the way. So another cool thing I wanted to share, and I briefly shared it last time I was live, but I made some piping for diorama walls. I 3D printed some of this piping, kind of experimenting and seeing what worked best. And when I found out diameters and coupler sizes that I wanted to kind of design and everything, I came up with some really cool design where I make these pipes interchangeable. So, you know, you have your diorama wall, and a lot of times when you see action figure photography, the walls, you know, might not have any piping or conduit, or they just might be kind of plain or boring. So in an attempt to make another, you know, layer of realism to the scene, I wanted to add some some you know, water pipes with the clean out valves and stuff like that. So what I did was designed in Fusion 360, and these are resin printed. I designed in 360 these pipes and these couplers and different you know, shapes, like if you know, that you could connect together. I'll show you real quick, and these are really pretty cool. So the idea is I have pipes that have couplers already attached, and then I have couplers that you can, you know, get in addition. And what this does is, let me just put these in here. Okay, and then you can say you wanted to add a coupler at the bottom of here. You know, you wanted your pipe coming out of the wall, something like that, you know. You know, you could do that, and then you can add another coupler down here at the bottom and put your, you know, pipe down to the wall like that. And so these all snap together and kind of, you know, go together to create different configurations in your diorama. It's pretty cool. But what I wanted to share with you is the way I'm going to go ahead and do some latex on here and create, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's a little control box I did. I 3D printed this control box and I made the conduit for it. But you can see that there's a rusty pipe here, but actually here there's quite a lot of texture to the rust right there. I'm just waiting for the GoPro camera to focus on that. You can actually see there's a lot of texture in there. And the way that, you know, I do that, instead of just painted texture, but actually real texture that you can see, that's done with latex. And I'll share with you real quick how I do. And you can also use the latex to create this peeling paint effect on your wall also. It's another good way to use latex. And with Halloween just having ended, you can probably, I don't know, maybe still go to your store and get good deals on leftover Halloween items. But I got this on Amazon. I'll link it in the video. I think I paid $10 for this. It stinks, so be prepared for that. It does smell, and when you open it, it smells a lot like ammonia. And I'm just going to pour a little tiny bit into this cap here. It doesn't take very much. Move it out of the way because I will spill it. So, what's up, Banky? Banky? So what the idea here is, we just want to create little bits of rusty texture. The base coat is going to be this down here, the rusty you know, black and stuff like that. So we can just take a little latex and kind of put it on in a couple different areas, and it's going to dry pretty quick. We'll just kind of put it on. Not going to put it on too low because there might be a coupler there and you won't see it anyway. So we'll just put a little latex there and maybe a little bit over here. And it'll dry quick, and you can let it stay raised up. You don't have to brush it in real smooth. Leave that, you know, texture on it, those high ridges and stuff like that. And we'll let that dry, and we'll just put another little piece on, little piece of rust over in here or something, and kind of, this will give us all that pitting and corrosion kind of rusty pipe that's like flaking apart that you'll see sometimes in old abandoned, if you ever do like urbex photography or, you know, abandoned warehouses and stuff like that, you see this kind of thing on there. So put that rascal to the side, let that dry. And you can really smell this stuff. It's, if you like ammonia, this is the stuff. Woo! It's the stuff for you. It'll give you that nice ammonia smell. So we'll let that dry for a second. Then we'll just kind of figure out a color. I think I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna, well, I mean, it's up to you. You can brush over that with a paintbrush once it's dry, the color that you want, or you can just stipple on with a sponge. It's gonna really depend on what you want to do. I think, well, I think I can paint a little I was going to stipple some on there, but we can paint a little gray on there. Let me grab a gray color, and we can paint a little bit on there. Or actually, we could do a little gray. I've got a metallic, but that's going to look too new. I don't want to do it too new of a color. We might just, actually, you know what? I might just stipple this on. I think it's going to be better. And we'll just do it on a paper towel. I will stipple. Stipple. All right, so we'll move some of these out of the way. And then we'll just put a little gray down on here on this paper towel. Then get a good little sponge and dip it in there, and then get all the excess off. You don't want blobs of gray on there. Once this dries, it usually dries fast, but since I'm on YouTube Live, it's gonna dry like in forever. So it's just the way it works. And maybe we'll paint another little piece while that dries. There we go. And it just takes a little bit of this. You could do it with a paintbrush too, but then your paintbrush gets ruined. Your paintbrush stays all latexed and stiff, and it's just... So I just use the Q-tip and the sponge. If you're looking to save your paintbrushes, then that'd be the way to do it. Leave some of those high ridges there. The more high ridges you have, the more, flaky looking textured rust you're going to have on these pipes. And if you're impatient, you could put a heat gun on here and heat this up, and it will dry really quickly also. Let's sit there. We'll put a little bit on this one. Just a little bit. Well, I got a little crazy with it. It's all right. Got a little crazy with it. All right. It should be dry. It looks pretty shiny still. Looks a little suspicious. Hit it with the heat gun. Put this back in here. And this is great. Like I say, I'll show you once again. I'll show you the effect that it's gonna give you. This right here, you can see at the base of this pipe all that rough looking texture that's in there. That's a great way to build up some textures. And you can see I did a little bit down in here on the side of the box too, if the GoPro will focus. But it requires, you need to have a base coat underneath, then you put the latex, then you put a different color paint on top of the latex, so that when you peel down the latex, when you peel it up a little bit, you can see what's underneath, and it looks like peeling paint. Or in this case here, we're just going to make a rusty flaky pipe. The rust would be whatever color you want, and you wouldn't really peel any of this away. You're just going to stipple on a rust color and make it look like there's some corrosion to it. And let's see what we got here. Okay, it should be dry. Touch it. It's a little tacky still, but tacky's all right. Forget where I put my paint. Let's put a little more down. The latex didn't dry, but the paint did. Anyway, there we go. Just a little bit. Dab, dab, dab. Let's see what we got here. Dab this. It takes a little bit of dabbing, a little blending, a little dabbing. And you can go as cuckoo as you want with this. I want it to be pretty subtle because I've already got quite a bit of rust that I airbrushed on here, and I don't want to go. I've got a little bit of orange wash over here on the side that I want to bring out too. Just bring this on top of it a little bit, and that'll dry. It looks really wet now and really harsh, but it will dim down. It will fade. And if you ever think, oh, that's too bright, or you don't like the color, you could just knock it back a little bit with the black wash or something, and you're good. Set that to the side there. Let it. Let's do this one here. We could do a little bit of brown. It's your rust. You can do it however you want. Whatever color will get you there. Just stipple it with the sponge right over the top of that. Kind of like that. Same thing down here at the bottom. I wasn't as generous with the latex on this as I was on the control box on the wall, because I don't want so much on these pipes, but you can see the effect in there. Let me let the camera focus on that. You can see the effect of the ridges that the latex creates on the pipe. It's pretty cool. Waiting for my video to catch up. There's a little bit of, there it goes. You can see right in there, right on the side there. It just creates these little layers and ridges and bits of texture that the eye's drawn to in the photo, you know. And it's cool, man. Who doesn't like rust? Okay. So, and then if you want, you can go over that again with another color. Here we might do the same. We might put a little brown on this one. You know, it's just whatever layers and colors that you like is what you're going to use to build this up. And you can do it with a paintbrush too. I did the control box with a paintbrush, and the effect was really, really, really strong. Let me just show you that again too. This was all painted in acrylics with a brush. So this here I painted on with a brush also, and then I painted the color over the top of it, and then I did a stipple, and it created all those different layers in there. So it's just a matter of what you think looks good, you know. Get a little brown on there, dab it off. There you go. Kind of like dry brushing, but with a sponge. You could bring a little bit back into some of those light areas. And you can use different textured sponges to create different bits of, you know, the different pores in the sponge create different patterns. So let's see if we can take a little orange over here on the plate. See what that does there. Let me bring that in. Might be hard to see all the way down the table, so I'll bring the pipe up to the top, but it creates all that cool patterns in there. So a little bit of latex there. Cool, right on. We've got rust. All right, well, there's my rust for the evening. My rusty tank done with pigments. Rusty pipes done with acrylic paints and stippling with a sponge. An airbrush, and then another technique with a little bit of latex in there. Let me put some orange on this one because this one didn't. Matter of fact, this latex here. Let me paint a little bit on here so you can see this effect too. As this bottle of wash dries. Yeah, maybe I'll take the top off. Let's see. There we go. And wherever we brush the latex on, we can put some of this on there and see what the ridges of the latex does. It picks up the paint, and it creates those little rusty, as I knock it off, it creates those little rusty little pockets of cool looking rust. And, so there's a couple ways you can do this. Like I say, you can stipple it with the sponge, you can brush it on, there's a few different ways to create the rust. See, here's another one here, this little ring. If the GoPro will focus on it, that little ring right there, that's done with a little latex and a wash, and I did that one with a sponge. And then if you think you might have got too much on there, just pick a little back up with the sponge. And there you go. And that'll dry and not look as glossy. There you have it, rust. And at any rate, you folks have a good evening. I'm going to sip on coffee and paint some 3D printed paint and or some 3D printed pieces, and I need to do some photography. Man, I've been building all this stuff and I haven't done any photography lately. I need to put something together and make and do a shoot. But at any rate, we'll see you folks